Hello, this is podcast. This is Cameron's Universal Information. This is episode 1. There is no particular topic for today. Hello, today we have Parker from my school. Parker, introduce yourself.
Hi guys.
Parker, I think we miss you. I think you went out there.
Yeah.
You cut out, so say that again.
I'm Parker.
Alright, so today I have a couple of topics already written down. I'm pretty sure you do too. So we're just going to dive right into it. This is just how we're going to go. So, basically, right? So when you see a very successful person, right? Normally they have a podcast, right? And I don't just know this is 100% sure of the reason, but most of the time they use that podcast to build a brand for themselves, right? Because when they build that brand, right, they end up like that brand, well, like they can make merch to put they can speak in front of thousands of people, make money from that, right? So there's many opportunities to when you're making many opportunities when you make a podcast, right? The opportunities are endless. Hold on, guys. Parker is going downstairs.
Alright.
Alright, no problem.
Okay. And then the dog.
Alright, so first of all, on the notes, it's gonna say about, you ever seen about Grant Cardone? Oh, hold on, guys. He's just shutting his door. Oh, I don't know. He just dipped for a second. Alright, hold on. Guys, Parker's back. So when you see most businessmen, right, you see Grant Cardone, Gary Vee, the people from EYL, Earn Your Leisure, etc., right? You see them, most businessmen are fit, right? You see, like, a lot of them are not, like, overweight and unhealthy, right? Because most business people that made a business for themselves, you would think if they could make all that money for themselves, and make all the money for themselves, and, like, it's hard work, right? It's determination, focus, right? All that other stuff, right? So you would think, right, if you got the determination to do that, you have the determination to be fit. So, right, that's what my dad says, right? You see all these businessmen, they're not unhealthy, they're always fit, right? So you would think, right, if you have the determination to do this, to become wealthy, you have determination to be healthy, right? Oh, wait, okay, it's still recording, good, right? And it's just something funny about that. I never realized that until my dad pointed it out, right? And so I got a question for you. How did you get into business, right? Like money. How did you get into learning it?
Yeah, well, it's hard to remember, but I don't know how I got into it. I just kind of did. Like, I remember because my mom, she used to be in business for a bit. Like, she was working with Arbonne, and she used to buy products from the store. It's like physical affiliate marketing kind of thing. So she would buy the products off Arbonne and then sell it for more to random people, and then she'd build her clients up, and then she'd sell more, and etc. So I think I got it from her probably, and I just kind of figured out that, like, I looked at because last year I was looking at different places where I can be employed, and I don't know, I just got into business, and I was like, oh, this is actually interesting, and I figured out what assets are, what liabilities are, and I was like really kind of, I don't know, it just really interested me knowing that I could have an upper hand, because I think mostly why I got into business and stuff is for future me. Like, me doing the learning now is going to help future me way down the road. So me knowing what an asset is, what a liability is, different tax deductions, getting into different income streams, different ways to make income, I think that's just going to help me in the future, and I think that's why I'm doing it now so much. Because I know it's going to help me down the road.
That's pretty good of it. I like that. Well, the way I got into it is kind of different. Like, it was, so the way I got into it, it was very different, right? Because I come from a business family, right? My grandfather, I think he was in high school, maybe grade 10, and his father died, and his mother was at home mother. So when his father died, he had to go to work, right? So he started working. I think as a car salesman, and then a vacuum place, and then eventually he left, and I don't know how he got into it, but he started his own mechanic business, right, which he was pretty successful at. He wasn't fixing cars, but it was more of like like he would buy cars and take the parts off and stuff like that, and he was pretty successful at it for quite a long time. But as the years went on, it was really hard on your body, right? And what happened to him was he got cancer, so he's not with us today. But I still every day I wake up in the morning, I think about him, and it drives me, right? That's what I get.
Yeah.
I always think about him, right? So the way I got into business, and I was around, right? Well, let me continue the story. I shouldn't do that, so I'm gonna continue the story. So he got into business. When my dad was coming up, my dad immediately, I don't know, he started working it pretty young. At 12 years old, my dad could take off a motor and transmission, right? And that's no easy job, right? And at 12 years old, that's heavy machinery, right? And I come from a small community, so when my dad would be working or something, the kids would make fun of him, but, right? So,
Yeah.
basically, I don't know how he took that, but I know he used that as a drive, right? And my dad, once my grandfather died, he took over the business, right? And then my dad became pretty successful, and he did more research, and he bought land and got rental properties, right? And that's how. And then my grandmother, when my father was coming up too,
Yeah.
he was always taught to save money. He was always taught with all these simple things, right? And my grandmother, right? She, like my great grandmother, she's still with us today. Like, she never made a big amount of money, but she knew how to save her money, right? So people that were making more money, I'm pretty sure they were born from her. Now, I don't know if that's true, but I'm pretty sure, because I don't really remember, because I had a long time since I talked to her, right? And stuff like that, right? So the way I came up, so I must have been 5 years old, right? And so I was 5 years old, and I started probably before grade primary, right? My dad, we would go downstairs and we would watch history videos, right, about our people, so I would know, right? Because in school systems, they don't teach about my people. And what they do teach is most of it's not true, right? And you've seen in class on Friday, right, how my years were wrong, but the information I had was correct. I think I said 200 for the oldest white person and 1,000 for the oldest black. My years were wrong. It was 2,000 or 3,000 for the oldest white person, and then the oldest black person 10,000, which they think, I don't know where they found his remains, but his name's Cheddar Man. And that's as much as I can tell you about that, because I didn't really go into any further. Because as I got older,
Yeah.
I stopped doing that, because I stopped doing that with my dad, doing my own stuff, right? I was out with my cousins on my 4-wheeler, right? So I stopped learning. And for a long time, I think it was 7, I stopped learning, and I never learned anything, right? And then, I don't know, maybe it was 3 years ago, but my dad would a little bit every day, he would try to place some informational stuff in the car, right? And eventually, I caught on 2 or 3 years ago, and I started going on a rampage learning. I wasn't as into learning about business as I was, for these since grade 9-ish, started grade 9-ish. I was not as into learning business as I am now, right? Which I've found all these great people, right? So my learning through business is like that, right? And I was always taught to buy rental properties and don't be a consumer mindset, right? Because everybody out here, right? They're consumer, right? So my dad always tries to teach me to be the manufacturer, not the consumer, right? Because even though we have Mr. Pickett is a good teacher and all, but he's good all around. No complaints about him. One of my favorite teachers, I won't lie with you. But the one he's teaching about financials, he wants you to save, right? And as you know, you watch Grant Cardone, correct?
I do, yeah.
Yeah, so you know him? Cash flow is king. You don't want to keep money, which makes sense. And I was talking to somebody last night. I was trying to tell them about inflation, right? And I said, right. So this guy said he's got $2,000. So I said, what do you spend your money on? He wouldn't tell me, but he said he got $2,000. Random guy from Xbox. I just happened to join the party, and I said, what you gonna do? He didn't tell me. He said, invest in it. And investing, I don't really think he's 2,000, but if he does, good for him, right? So I told him, there's inflation, right? And he wouldn't believe me. I said, if you put save your money in the bank, inflation's the biggest tax ever. He said to me, how's inflation affecting me? My money's in the bank. And I was like, I thought to myself, I was like, how silly can you be? Right?
Yeah.
So I said to the guy, I'm explaining to you this way, right? So how inflation works, right? So let's say something will cost $3. A pair of shoes costs $20, $50. What do you want to say? The price will eventually keep going up and up and up, and that's with everything, right? You see in the grocery stores, because of COVID, everything is going up and up and up because of all like the economy and how everything is working, right? And everything, like they're giving away money, right?
Supply and demand.
Yeah, right. And you see, like, a lot of the leaders we have in the world, they don't have to live with the economic decisions, right? So they're going to be good when they get out of office, right? Right? So the decisions they're making is not going to affect them, right? Like in Jamaica. The Chinese are buying up everything. The Jamaicans don't own anything, right? And the leaders, I think there was something going on about Coca-Cola. No, maybe this was Mexico. It's either Mexico or Jamaica. My memory's not that good, right? They have a lot of good natural resources, right? And they said they need so much. Oh, this is Mexico. They need so much water, right? The same thing's happened in Jamaica, but with businesses, and they don't have any money. So in Mexico, they had a good water supply issue, right? And they need money too, right? So what happened was, now, sorry if I keep saying like and right, because sometimes I got to think about it in my brain how I'm going to say it, right? So what happened in Mexico, right? Day zero, I think it was somewhere in Africa where they were running out of water, and it kept coming closer and closer, right? And what happened was, right, the people conserved the water so well, I think like day zero kept getting pushed back, right? So in Mexico, they're running out of water. It won't happen for 50 to 70 years. I don't know where in Mexico, but somewhere in Mexico, right? So basically, there was this plant. I'm pretty sure it was Coke. Don't quote me on that, right? So I'm pretty sure it was some type of plant, right? So what was going on is they said, oh, we need money. So they gave away the natural resources for money, right? And they're going to suffer because of that. Because it was a beer thing. So they were taking natural resources, right? Which in exchange for money, right? Which there's unlimited amounts of money. Because 40% of the money in America was printed in the last 2 years. That's crazy, right? So... and that's probably like a same ratio for here in Mexico, right? And so they're giving away natural resources, and their people are going to suffer, right? Because they don't have those natural resources. Then they can't farm, right? I think they're something to do with the farming. Something's going on with them because the water supply is low and all this other stuff, right? And these leaders are corrupt, right? The world leaders are corrupt. Africa is losing all their natural resources, right? They're gold. Like, I don't like a lot of people in school, they think Africa is a bunch of mud huts and stuff like that. It seems like that to me. Maybe they don't think, maybe they know they're wrong in their mind, but it seems like when people talk about Africa, they're always talking about down on Africa, right? But Africa, it was gold, oil, I think maybe lithium, I don't know, but they're in natural gases, silver. Everything Africa is full, right? But it's the corrupt leaders, right? There was one leader with Donald Trump, right? So there was something to do with land. I can't remember because I don't want to be wrong, but there was something to do with land, right? And the African leader said, no, you're not taking this land. And you can't have this land. So Donald Trump said, okay, if you're not going to give us this land, what we're going to do, I think, is so they were shipping stuff to Africa, exchange for something to do with the land. So what they did, I think America stopped shipping, or what was it? A year or two ago, there was something going on with the wood or something, or supplies that America was shipping in here, right? What was it? I don't remember, but right? I don't remember
Yeah.
what it's called, right? But they stopped doing whatever. They stopped like shipping it, right?
Yep.
And the people suffered. So the leader was a good leader. So he said, "All right, you could have your land back," right? And that just shows that we had one good leader in Africa, right? And I know what my information has a lot of holes in it, right? I understand that, right? Because if my information has a lot of holes, but most of my information, right, I get it from a bunch of different sources, right? So if you ever want to check about my information, right, you can either go. There's a Netflix series called How something.
Money explained.
Yeah, no,
No.
it's explained. It says something explained. It's like a whole series, right? And it's talking about like I watched a couple episodes, right? Something explained.
Get money
Right.
explained.
No, it wasn't money. It was something else explained, right?
Ah.
I don't remember, but there's like the money explained, history explained, a bunch of explained, but then there's a one called It's Explained. There's a new episode every week, and I don't know what it's called, right? And I recommend going to watch that. I learned about how plastic surgery was started. Plastic surgery was started when World War I or II. I think it was II, and it was over. The soldiers were coming back with disformities in their face and all this other stuff, and they invented plastic surgery for them to look normal. First, it was for the soldiers, then it was for women, then moved on to women, right?
Yeah.
So that's interesting stuff like that, right? I listened to this guy whose name's Dr. Boyce Walker, right? He just you need to be a select crowd, right? It's an iffy thing I'm gonna say, but a select crowd. If you're gonna listen to Dr. Boyce Walker, I would say, right, like just pay attention, hear me out. He's speaking to black people, but he's also getting good information. So I say anybody can listen to him, right? And he's not one of these people that just doesn't like anybody but black people. But he doesn't say that, right? He doesn't touch on that. Every single time that comes up, he won't say anything about it, right? So I recommend going and listen to Dr. Boyce Walker, right? You know about the Robinhood app, right?
Yeah, the brokerage.
Yeah, it was investing app, right? People thought they were investing, but it was gambling, right? Because you would invest, it would give you this like confetti thing. Yeah, right? And people were gambling, but they thought they were investing, right? It was just right? And I remember I was listening to Dr. Boyce Walker. Dr. Boyce Walker was saying he was talking to this guy. This guy was investing in the stock market, right? But really, eventually he realized he was just gambling, right? Because he gets that little high, right? When he invests, right? And when you make money or get money, it hits the same part of your brain as cocaine, the hypothalamus in your brain, right?
Yeah.
So, right? So that's just how the system is. This system's a bunch of trickery, right? If you don't know already, but I know a lot of people listen to this. If they know me, they're not gonna listen. So I know it's just whatever. And I got a question for you. That was a lot of information taken at once.
Yeah.
So if I'm talking too fast or you need me to go over and explain something again, never be afraid to ask, because I know I speak quickly and don't explain stuff correctly, or I explain it correctly, but I'll be talking about apples and then jump to oranges, right?
Yeah.
I know that I do that a lot. So I got a question for you.
Yeah.
How did you find Grant Cardone? How did you get into listening to him?
So I found Grant Cardone. So when I first got into learning about just the basics, I asked my mom, what should I read first? And she was like, well, Rich Dad Poor Dad. It teaches you the basics of everything, just skims over everything there pretty much is to know at the moment. So I was like, okay, Rich Dad Poor Dad. And then I finished that book. And then, because she, in her office, she has like a wall full of finance business books and like self-growth books. So I'm looking through that, and I see this 10X rule, really, because it pops my attention, because it's like a bright yellow, white, black book with like bolded letters. So I checked that one out, and she says, ooh, that's a good one. And I started reading the book, and it's really good, and it talks about how you could just like 10 times what you're doing, and just get better everywhere, is financially, mentally, or like just growth, pretty much, I guess.
All right.
So then I liked his book, and then I did more research about him, and then I figured out he had podcasts, and I started listening to those. And he had like a TikTok and a YouTube, and I watched those too.
So
and
this is Grant Cardone. Oh, sorry to interrupt you. So this is Grant Cardone, correct? Not Robert Kawasaki?
Yeah, this is Grant Cardone. Yeah.
Okay, good. Okay, I just want to make
So
sure.
yeah, so like I read Grant Cardone's book, and then I figured out he was on all social medias. So then I like visited him there on Spotify and YouTube and TikTok, all of these places, and I kind of just really like he was entertaining, but he also explained things in a simple way. So I don't know, I just liked him for that. That's how I found out about him.
Well, yeah, the way I found about Grant Cardone was, I think it was through TikTok, because he kept coming up on my For You page, and I would skip him, right, because I thought he was a bunch of BS, right? But then when you told me about him, because I personally thought he was a scam, because I heard a lot of bad things about him. Like, I listened to him on TikTok, but I never did any further research into him. And then once you mentioned him, I did a couple of some further research. I learned about like how his mother died, and she made bad choices because she wasn't financially set up and stuff like that, right? And
he would.
Yeah, and
he was really.
Oh, sorry to cut you off, but the way, like, right, because he rents everything, right? He rents the house he lives in. Am I correct on that one?
Oh yes, he buys real estate everywhere.
But he rents the house he lives in, right? Like with his family, because I'm pretty sure I heard him say that. No,
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure I'm right, but you guys listening to the podcast can go and do further research into that. But I'm pretty sure I'm correct, right? He rents the house he lives in because if he wants to leave, he can leave, and he doesn't have to worry about all this stuff. But again, he's a billionaire, so I don't understand why he does that, right? Because if he wants to go and live, say he's living in Wyoming, he wants to go to Texas, he can literally rent that house out and then go buy some house in Texas. But right? But I was always taught different, right? Buy duplex, rent out the other. That's what I was always taught, right? Because when my dad bought his first house, he might have been 21, 22, maybe it's 23, 24. I don't remember. It's like 24 to 21, right? When he bought the house, everybody in the community did not like the they had every reason in the world why he shouldn't have bought he shouldn't have bought the house. But right? And he lived in the house, and then me and my mom and him lived in the house, and then eventually when they got divorced, and then my mom came out to Timberley, and then my dad, he went further into up home, and he built the house we live in now, and then he rented out that one and bought another one on the road, right? And my dad, he's always looking for business opportunities, right? Yeah. Right. So
that's great.
That's really good. I got a question for you. This is kind of personally, don't have to tell me, but like, does your family have rental properties?
No, not that I'm aware of. They're invested in mutual funds, bonds, a few stocks. I want to say oil, and I think that's about it. There's probably more, but that's all I know of. But they're not invested in real estate now.
Because I know real estate's a big thing, like a good thing to invest into, right? But the only thing about like okay, if somebody moves in, okay. The reason why my dad when my dad talks to me, when we talk about when I'm buying my house, and I said, I want to buy like 10 units, right? But he says, right, if you want to sell that, the reason why I have 10 individual units, I don't know how many units he has. I know, but I'm not going to say, right? Because I don't know if he wants that to be out in the world. So, right? So I'm not going to say, right? So, the reason why he owns individual and not an apartment building, whatever, or like that. He said because if he wants to sell that, he only got to move one person out and he can sell it, right?
Yeah.
But if he has a bunch of people. Okay. Now, this is the iffy thing. I don't remember, but I'm pretty sure something about one person in... Okay, I'm not even going to say...
It might take to move everyone out of if you had, a quadplex, and, you lived in one, then you would have to move 3 people out of that house and get them situated in a different, apartment building or different triplex.
I don't think that's quite the reason, but it had something to do with selling. That's all I remember. Because sometimes information in my mind, it stays there for a bit and then it leaves, right? And then that's what happens. You get, I can't explain stuff correctly and it's weird. That's what I find, because I have to find. I can rewatch a bunch of stuff. Right on Netflix, you've seen the show. It's by an Indian guy, I believe, Hajan something, and just good show to watch. Very informational. It's on Netflix. I'll send it to you after. I don't remember, but it's very informational. Right? I got it from my barber. Shout out to Devin. Devin's the best barber in the world. If you live in Halifax, go to East Coast Barbers. Recommend. Devin hits me up with the fade. All right. Okay. I have another question for you. How often do you study?
Sorry, how often what?
How often do you learn? I shouldn't I had that word in.
I try to each day. Sometimes I don't do anything, but I have a book of everything I learned. So when I started, how long ago was that? I started Thursday, June 3rd, 2021. It was my first journal entry. And then that goes all the way to now, which is just about everything. So there's affiliate marketing, there's stocks, there's bonds, there's different financial terms that I would need to know in the future. There's different tax, loopholes or something like that. And then there's it goes from that to have you watched The Big Short? About the 2008 financial crisis, and they shorted the housing market and they made millions off it.
No, I know. I don't know about that part, but I know about how it crashed.
Yeah. So it's about the 2008 financial crisis and how the housing market crashed, and it's really confusing how they explain it, because they don't really explain it if they were talking to, someone our age that doesn't understand the terms. So they use really, really confusing financial terms, and then pretty much it's just pages of breaking that down and how to simplify the story.
So it's a book? Oh, it's a book?
It's a movie.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah, it's 2-3 hours or so.
Alright, sorry to cut you off.
It's a financial investor who is always looking at stocks for a company. He's a business owner on Wall Street, and he sees that that the mortgage bonds are filled with how the mortgages are rated by B's, double B's, triple B's.
No, I didn't.
So the mortgages, and I don't know if it's here, but in the U.S., how they're rated is it goes from D's, double D's, triple D's, and then it's B, double B, and then it goes all the way to triple A, which is the best. That means that whoever is on the issuer, I guess, is really, it's a safe mortgage. There's little to no risk. And AAA is there's no risk at all. And these get rated by by places on Wall Street, which would be the S&P, the New York Times, I don't know, something like that. But it gets rated by rating agencies. But the mortgages that they said were AAA were actually double B. And tons of investors invested in these so-called really safe triple B mortgages, or mortgage bonds, and then it just crashed because the people buying mortgages couldn't pay back.
All right. So I'm just making a couple notes because I'm gonna watch The Big Short, learn about mortgage ratings, and that's a really good idea. Write in your book, your journal, everything you learn. I'm gonna start doing that, right? Because then you can go back on information, right? That if just in case you forget
some of the stuff I wrote each day. What I would do is I'd say what I learned. So I'd start by doing what's the date, what I will achieve in the future, what I will be, and what I will earn. And then I have probably about 6 bullet points for each. And then on the back of the page, I would put what I learned financially today, and I'd put just so I'm learning each day, and I could go back. For this day, I learned about leases, landlords, negative cash flow, and positive cash flow. So I learned about that.
All right.
On that day.
The one thing I did, I think of maybe it was 2 weeks ago. Okay, maybe it was like 1 week into school. Maybe it was no, it was 2 weeks ago, right? Yeah, I remember now. So I was just on TikTok scrolling, doing my thing. I came across this guy. I don't remember who it was, but it looked like he was some type of investor, right? And he was speaking to a crowd. He said,
Yeah.
if you want to do anything, all you need is focus, right? So he said, get a piece of paper, right? Go write down, put numbers 1 to 10, put down 10 goals. Pick one goal, and then write down on another piece of paper and focus on that goal and make that goal happen and work towards it. And it will take, I think he said, 30, 60 days to do, so a month or two to do it, right? And he said that's how you get it. Do you know who it was?
Yeah, I remember the face.
I know.
I know being an old guy, and he had like a white sheet of paper, and he was holding it up, and he said exactly what you just said.
Yeah, I did that. I wrote down I want to get a job, which I should. My dad just keeps telling me, because I'm only 14 right now, my dad keeps telling me what I call the Stobies, and I always forget. But when I know, right, if I tell my dad I forget, he automatically knows that it's not important to me, right? Which is true, right? Like, which I think getting a job to me is very important, which I do want to do, but I know that, right? Because my dad thinks in a different type of way, right? Because when he studies people, it's really, I don't understand it, right? Because by me just telling something to my dad, he knows it. He thinks, I don't understand. He understands people on a different level, which I do not understand, right? Because I'm starting to do like psychology in the people, right? Different hands are like 2 hands means you're lying. Using one hand, I don't really know what that one means, right? And I started doing more into that, right? Because I want to be like that, because I know, because I can ask my dad about people. I'm not going to say who, but I asked my dad. I don't remember who. I don't remember, but my dad said this person likes controversy, right? Sometimes likes to just have some controversy, right? We were talking in the car on the way to the gym, right? And I always noticed that about my dad, right? He can tell people when people are like not being honest, and people, like, he puts things together, right, in like a puzzle, like almost like a detective, right? And it's really weird. It's not weird, but it's really fascinating to me, right? And I really like to know, because I know my people always, like my grandmother, she always talks about my grandfather being that way, right? He could read people. He could see 20 years down the road, right? Because whenever I make a decision, I want to make a logical decision, not a decision influenced on emotions and stuff like that, right? And I just don't study business. I'm very careful of what I do, right? Whenever I do something, I'll eat this McDonald's, I gotta think about what it will do to me 20 years from now down the road, or what can I do to work this off, right? Because a lot of people, when they get upset or angry, they'll make emotional or rash decisions, right? Decisions that will not benefit them, right? You see a lot of people in our grading class, okay, I'm not going to name any people, but if people do here, they're going to know, right? Because I'm not going to put names up there, right? Fights, right? The reason why I'm not trying to fight nobody, but people, like, they want to, like, everybody wants to fight, right? Because I know people are going to say, oh, I'm stupid, or I'm too cautious. No, I'm looking at my future, because I know if I get into a fight because I am black, I know the consequences will be worse for me, right? And plus, fighting only can take you one place, and that's jail, and that's not a place that I want to be, right? I don't want to be a criminal. I don't want a criminal history, right? So I know that everything I do, I got to be aware of what I'm doing, be conscious, be focused, and not make mistakes, right? So I'm always aware of that, right? Because I know a lot of people, they fight for no reason, right? Because I was remember, I think it was Friday, I was at Math Extra Help, and I was talking to somebody, and they told me there was a fight, right? And the Irving people came outside, when Irving people came outside, they said all this, so I'm called the police, right? See, fighting can only take you one place, and that's jail, right? And I don't do any of that, right? I try to stay away from trouble. That's what I don't like, trouble. That's not what I don't. I hate trouble, right? Because trouble is nothing but a bunch of headaches, right?
Yeah.
And I'm just because I know I heard that from Dr. Boyce Walker, to make logical decisions. Try to not let emotions influence the decisions you're going to make, because those decisions could affect you 20 years down the road, or affect you tomorrow, or it could affect how your mind works, or affect how you might not get into the university you want because you because you got an assault charge, right?
Yeah.
So, right, I'm always thinking like that, right? Because I'm always thinking down the road, right? I always try to do that because tomorrow belongs to those tomorrow belongs to those who prepare today, right? And I always think that way, right? So I know if I got a math test, I got to study, right? Every single day, you won't see me out at lunchtime, and you rarely do, right? Because where I'm at, I either go to the Mr. Borden's, right? I shouldn't have said his name because I don't know if he wants his name on there. So I go to the African student support teacher at lunch. So there, I'm with my cousins or with some other black students in the school, and we just have a good conversation, right? Sitting there, chillaxing, do what we're doing what we're doing, right? Or when he's not there on Thursdays and Fridays, I go to math extra help because I know I need extra help with my math, and I need to get my math down pat, right? Because I know you want to start your own business. It's like when you get out of high school, I do want to like become something and work on your business on the side or focus on that business like straight out of high school.
When I get out of high school, you've read Rich Dad Poor Dad? Have you?
Wait, say that again?
Have you read Rich Dad Poor Dad?
Well, I bought the book maybe right before, maybe a week before school, and I was reading about 17 minutes a day, and I got into it a little bit, and then school hit, and I was still reading for about the first couple of days, and then the schoolwork came, and I didn't have enough time, right, because I stopped playing video games, right, because I knew when high school's coming, no video games, right, because I know it's just going to mess me up, my mind's sharper now, right, so I stopped playing video games, right, so I haven't had enough time to read Rich Dad Poor Dad. I'm trying to get some time to read it. I know on the weekends I can, but I'm always hanging out with my friends or doing this on the weekends, so it's kind of time is not really good for me right now. All right, so sorry to interrupt. Sorry to go on a big long explanation like that. Sorry.
That's fine. Well, it's one of the lessons, and after high school, I'm probably going to work definitely. And one of the lessons, one of the chapters in Rich Dad Poor Dad is work to learn. Work to learn. So Robert Kiyosaki, he did a few years in the military to be more confident, I guess, in himself.
Sorry to interrupt you. I got a question, right? You remember when I don't know if I read this in the book or I heard him say it, but Robert Kiyosaki, right? He was in a war, right? He was in a war. Remember, I don't know if it was the 60s or 70s. Americans couldn't.
He was like a pilot, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, and Americans couldn't legally own gold. Was it like that? Wasn't that like that? Right? They couldn't legally own gold, right? And he said he went somewhere and bought some gold, right? Because he's in one of his videos, right, on his YouTube channel. You can see that he says you wanna buy gold and silver because those will be money. Those have outlasted every single currency in the world ever created, right? In history, right? So you should buy gold and silver, right? So when he bought that gold while he was at war, where did he buy it though? I thought he said somewhere in China, but I was confused.
I can't remember.
Because I know he said he bought gold when Americans couldn't buy gold, right?
Yeah.
All right, so sorry if you can sorry to interrupt you like that on the long explanation again. That's just what I do. Sorry about that. Okay.
That's fine, though. It's just after high school, I'm gonna work, and it's because one of Robert Kiyosaki's Rich Dad Poor Dad chapters is work to learn. So you're working to learn a skill. Like he wasn't going to do military because he loved military. He was doing military because he needed to learn confidence in himself. So and stuff like that. And he did. What else did he do? He used to be I don't know, but he just works on different skill traits until he mastered that skill. Like he was a salesman. Like he needed to get it at marketing and sales. So he was at a salesman position until he was the best there at the job, and then quit because he knew he was better than most salesmen. So he worked at salesman, he worked at teleconference. So he worked at different jobs for a different skill, which he then used to grow his business exponentially. So after high school, I like to be, because one of the trades at the trades hall, right, was a project manager. So you're managing people and you're like looking over stuff, which I think is the closest thing there to a business. So I'd like to work there for a bit and just kind of get a sense of what to do. So at least I'm getting paid and I'm learning a skill that will benefit me in the future. So I'll probably do that after high school. And then I'll do probably like on a side hustle of some sort. And then if that like keeps growing, then that would be like a business, I guess. But I don't know. Just after high school, I just want to learn a skill professionally, and then just grow off that.
Because I know some of the skills I like. Growing up around my dad, that was a mechanic, right? I can take off a tire. I know one time I don't know, I wasn't too, I don't know, I couldn't lift the tire up, or I couldn't put it on right. I don't remember. I don't know if it was too heavy, or I just didn't. I think it was too heavy and I didn't know how to put a tire on, because when you put a tire on, all the holes couldn't match up, right? And I didn't know how to do it, and I don't think I was heavy enough, and my dad kept telling me, "What are you doing? You can't do this?" And I was like, I don't know, right? Because I kept saying I kept thinking to myself, it's too heavy, I can't do it. But I know I can't say that in front of my dad. I can't. Because as soon as my dad says I can't, I will have to practice that thing until I can, right? Because I know where I was at the gym, and I was bench pressing, right? And it was too much, I couldn't bench press. And my dad was spotting me, right? So, and I was like, I can't do this, right? And I hate bench pressing. I don't like doing. Okay, chest is fine. I just don't like bench pressing because it hurt my arms. Well, they don't get sore, but like they hurt in a weird way, and it hurts just to move them around. So I don't like bench pressing, right? So my dad says, "Oh, do this," right? And I said, I don't know how much it was. Maybe it was 100 pounds. I'm not a strong bench presser, right? Not one of my strong suits. Let me start curling, and then we can talk then. So I'm doing the bench press, and I said I can't. And my dad says, I'm lifting what you can, and if you can't lift what I'm giving you, but what I was wrong in the situation. I will admit that now. I shouldn't have been stubborn like I was, right? So I end up bench pressing, right? So I end up taking it off and putting on looser weights, and then I couldn't do that, and so then I put on no weight, which I'm not a strong bench presser. I will say that again, and so right. But then every single time we would do bench pressing, I tried to work a little bit harder because I knew my dad, right? Because I know when I succeed, right? Every kid knows this, right? When you succeed, it makes you feel happy because your parents are proud of you, right? And I know, but like when my dad sees, like when I know my dad's happy, it makes me happy, and it makes me want to drive further, right? Because that's all I want to do. Everything I try, everything I do, I try to impress my dad. It's a thing I try to do every single time. It doesn't matter what I'm doing, right? I'm trying to impress him at all times because I look up to him, right? He's my hero, right? Mm-hmm. Like. Everybody's got a hero, but my dad is my hero, right? And I think I wrote about him in a story, right? In another story in the last year in English, and I gave it to him. He was pretty happy with that, but yeah, right?
That's
so
great.
So get back to the thing where I said I can't, right? So if I say because everything is born of mindset, right? Everything is mindset, right? So when you say I can't, my dad always says to me, if you say you can't do something before you even try it, you're not going to do it. Because mindset is everything, right? You said you can. If he says to me, if you say and you think you can, you will do it. You will succeed about it, right? Because he was telling me one night he was watching Bill Gates and Warren Buffett, right? And one of the guy in the crowd said, I got a question. He said, my dad said, he said, what do you need to be successful and write this, both of you write this down on a piece of paper, and both of them wrote down focus, right? Because all you need is focus. You need to focus on one goal and become successful at it, right? That's all you need is focus, right?
Yep.
Which when that guy writing down the goals on a piece of paper, right? And you get the goals and focus on it. I'm focusing on getting in shape and getting good at school, right? Because I know right now everything I've been focused on, I've been trying hard, right? Everything, I got like 90s and stuff like that. That's a long way from grade 7. I had 50s. I won't lie. I wasn't good at school then, right? So now, I don't want to get, I'm trying to get them up, right? So now, my math is the only thing I need to bring up, right? But I was never good at surface area, but every single day I walk in math class, I say to myself, I can do this, right? And I go home and I do a little bit of practice. I know I should be doing more practice than I am, right? So, yeah, but one thing I want to switch to another topic, right? When you get on the school bus, or do you get to drive?
I walk home. Practical.
Oh, okay. So, let's just say, same scenario, right? Just different surroundings, right? So, when I get on the school bus, other kids are listening to music. You know what I'm listening to? Podcasts,
Pod-
right? Learn
Yep.
money, right? I'm learning about business, right? Because I know this, like you said, it will benefit you. It will benefit your future. What you're learning now will benefit you now from in the future, right?
100%.
Right, so that's what I'm saying. Because I get on school bus, first thing I'm doing, Dr. Boyce Walker, EYL, Grant Cardone, Gary Vee. I don't listen to Grant Cardone or Gary Vee, but did you see that one interview he had with like the guy that created COVID or whatever? Not created
No.
COVID, not created COVID, that created the vaccine. I don't know if it was. Oh, the mRNA. He created the mRNA, right? The mRNA. I can't really talk about it because I don't want to like mix up stuff. But he was talking. Listen, talk about the mRNA, right? And how he invented it, and how he got I think it won. He or the mRNA won a prize for peace or whatever. He was talking about something about the vaccine, but I'm not going to go into the vaccines because vaccines, everybody's their own opinion. It's an iffy topic, right?
Yeah.
You know, frig, man. You know, who is he? Joe Rogan, right?
Yeah.
You listen to Joe Rogan?
Yeah.
I stopped, for quite a while last year, I was listening to Joe Rogan all the time, right? Because Joe Rogan has some good information, right? But when my dad listens, he knows history like the back of his hand, right? He can tell you anything about anything in history about anything, right? So I was just saying about, he likes how Joe Rogan does his podcast, is sometimes his information isn't all that accurate, right? And Joe Rogan, right? He's one of the reasons why I started this podcast, right? Because he makes millions of dollars off his podcast, and this is his job, right? So I will listen to Joe Rogan, and I don't know, right? But I don't know what episode or who it was, but all I know is he said if you look at the screen for 5 minutes, you should look outside for 5 minutes, because or the guy, right? That is the host, the guest he had on. If you look outside on the screen for 5 minutes, you should. So every 30 minutes you look at the screen, you should look outside for 5 minutes, because nerds in the 90s and stuff like that will considered nerds, right? You see how they were always wearing glasses, right? Most of them, they played video games a lot, wearing glasses, right? It said by looking into a screen affects your eyes, right? Because your eyes, and like years ago, before all this technology stuff, we would always be looking off into distances, right? And I said there's something to do with your eyes, right? When you're looking at a screen, it messes your eyes in a certain way, and today's technology is better than the technology from the 90s, so it's not as bad. But it said for every 30 minutes you look at a screen, look outside for 5 minutes, right? And I kind of find that's true, right? Because I see a lot of people that play video games have bad or worse eyes. Like my friend Alex, my good friend, one of my best friends. I won't lie, Alex is my guy. So he wears glasses, and I think he played quite a bit of video games as a child, right? Which I did too. I won't lie, I did my fair share of gaming, right? So my eyes, I find sometimes, I don't know, right? Sometimes I get scared because sometimes I can't read stuff, right? If it's too far away. But I find I can see stuff from far away and up close. My vision is fine. But I find sometimes it can be sometimes not as good, right? So he wears glasses, right? I don't know if he can't see from up close. He can't see stuff from up close or far away. But I know he wears glasses, and I think he played quite a video games, and that's the reason why, right? And sometimes when I listen to this information, right, I always look at like how this information is true. Like I put it to the test in the real world and see what examples do I have of this in the real world, right? Yeah. And that's the thing. Joe Rogan, he's really good. I like how he does it because he has a lot of information to offer, and his podcasts are long, right? And you know who my favorite guest is he has on? Scientist guy. Oh my God, how I forget his name? Oh, the guy that does space and stuff.
Oh, Bezos? Jeff Bezos?
No. He's like a space person. He used to work for NASA. No, he used to work for NASA. Black guy, curly hair. He's pretty old now. He's like Bill. He's like Bill Guy, the science guy, but like.
Oh,
You know.
Mustache?
Huh?
You got the mustache?
Yeah, he mustache.
Yeah.
Everybody knows him. I don't know if he's like 23 million followers. Neil deGrasse Tyson, yeah, him. He's my favorite on there because, right, I learned a lot of things. One things I learned from him, right, how, like, in the wintertime, how pipes burst, right? He said when the water freezes, right, wait, is it when it freezes or it thaws, it expands? I don't remember, but I think when it freezes, right, it expands, right, water? I'm pretty sure, right, now that's how that's how pipes bust, right? That's the one thing.
Yeah.
One thing I learned, right? Because he always has something to say, but his podcast, I find the way he doesn't isn't at all entertaining to me, right? Because I tried to listen to an episode, it was like there was no like he should do it the way Joe Rogan runs his podcast because it's weird. Like I can't explain it, right? Like I can't learn from him on his podcast. It's too annoying, right? But on Friday when Mr. Pickett says, I want everybody in this room to watch 30 minutes today of a day of news, right?
Yeah.
In my bedroom, I just happened to have two TVs. It did not happen on purpose. Just how it happened. It just happened to become like that. I already had TV when I moved up home. I brought my TV, so it just happened to be like that, right? So on my second TV, whenever if I'm in the room, the news is on, right? If you were listening to me talking to him, like, and he said, anybody tell me anything about some news? See how I was telling him all that stuff about the news?
Yeah.
I'm not like intentionally like watching TV, like because you guys can't see on the podcast, but like I'm looking at TV right now. I'm not doing that. I'll be watching my TV, doing homework or do whatever I'm doing, right? And if every once in a while, I'll tune out to what I'm doing, and I'll listen to the news for a couple of minutes, and then I'll go back in, right? You see how I was telling him all the stuff about the news, and nobody in the room but Roman, maybe you, I don't think you said anything, I don't know about you, but just me and Roman, probably you, I would expect you're a knowledgeable person, you would know something about the news, right? How I was telling him all the stuff about the news, right? But the thing about it is, when I think about business, right, I don't think you just should know business, you should know a collective, right? Because it's all a circle, right? Because if you know this could connect to business, could help you, right? It's like when you own a business, you're gonna have to deal with people, right? A lot of people say that they want to start their business, but they're not good with people, right? So that's the thing. You got to be a people person to run a business, right? So psychology can help you when running a business, right? That's like everything, right? Addison Raising a movie. I'd never seen it, but you see it like I seen it clips on TikTok, right? People talking trash about it, right? And they were saying how all this, like, there was basically like an ad, right? Because there was a bunch of like logos and stuff in there, right? And when you watch like ads on TV, I don't know if anybody watches TV, but when I go to my nan's, right, and she's got the TV on, maybe I'll watch it on TV. I'll look at TV for an ad or something, and I'll see they may be advertising glasses, right? But they'll have a barbecue in the back, right? And that's you may not focus in on it, but your brain sees it. When you look at the screen, your brain will see it, right? And eventually you're going to want a new barbecue or a new TV, or you want a hamburger, right? Sometimes what the advertisement is not what they're trying to sell you. It's all about psychology, right? Because they get psychologists to do these, like, I don't know if it's psychologists, but I'm pretty sure, but they get the psychologists to do that, right? Because I'm pretty sure you know this, because I was talking to you one day, and you said something about it, right? Remember? I was talking to you that one day. I was walking with my cousins, and I was like I wasn't at Irving, I was like at the end of the street, like right where BMO with the parking lot is. And then when we walked back up, I was talking to you, right? And you were saying stuff about psychology, I remember, right? So, yeah. I got a question for you. Sorry for the long rant. Are you currently investing into anything?
Sorry?
Are you currently investing to anything?
No, nothing. I'm not invested in anything.
For myself, that is true too. I'm not investing in anything right now, but when I get a job, right, and I apply to this job, right, like Sobeys, right, because you get scholarships. But when I get my job, my first paycheck, you know where I'm going? Well, I'm not going, but where I'm going online? I'm going to find a place to invest, right? Because I want to invest into stock options, right? I know options will... Okay, not my first paycheck, but my first couple of paychecks, right? Because options are pretty expensive, right? So I want to do that, right? Because I know one of my friends, he got a job. I'm not going to say who or say what. He got his job, and I said, what you going to spend your money on? He said he's going to spend his money on this and that and everything. And I was just thinking to myself, right? This is when anybody gets a little bit of money, where do they go? The stores, right? Money is gone, right?
Yeah.
That's just how people think today, right? Consumer mindsets, right? Yeah. So, you know about the chip shop? Oh, sorry.
I'm not gonna. When we're in O2, right?
Yeah.
And Mr. Pickett's talking about saving, and then multiple people said they're saving up to buy a car. They're just saving up for a liability, which is going to continue with expenses.
Exactly. That's the thing.
Yeah.
My dad said to me when I was growing up, he didn't buy a car, but he did the exact same thing. He was saving and saving and saving. And he said to my grandfather, "I want to go buy a new car." And my grandfather said, "Why would you want to go do that? You're wasting up your money because a car's only going to go down in value, right? Right? Because my dad doesn't own a brand new car, right? Which if he wanted one, if he wanted one, he would buy one, but she doesn't want one, right? Because brand new cars are just liabilities, right? So he doesn't do that stuff. He doesn't want a brand new car, right?
They lose like 50% of their value after you drive it off the lot.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah. I know everybody. Everybody can talk about people. I hear people talking about $20,000 on a car, and they're only in high school. I'm dropping, well, I don't know, maybe 1,000 or not 1,000. That's not enough, but probably 7,000 ish. I don't know if that's too. I don't know, but like yeah, right. That's a good amount. Now I lost what I was going to talk about. Oh, chip shortages. Thank you. This right there. There. That's why I got it wrote down. So chip shortages, right? How they're driving prices of cars up, and right, and everybody's making their Apple as the Apple's got their own M1 chip, right? And Tesla's. Everybody's doing in-house manufacturing for chips, right? And you know how the cars, right? The cars need those chips, and the prices of values, the price in the cars are going up because of the chip shortage, right? Actually, what a lot of people don't know is it's the substrate inside the chip, right? It's what helps the chips communicate, right? The substrate in the chip, right, helps it communicate to other components, right? So basically, I forget there's a certain material that's needed to make a substrate. I don't know what it is, but all I know is the substrate in the chip is what is needed, right? And it was saying there's an investment opportunity because over in Tijuana. I don't know. Okay, these other places, right? Let's just say the Philippines. I don't know if it's Philippines, right? But these places, right? They have them. Yeah. They can make these chips, right? They have the substrates for the chips, right? And it would be really good if these big companies would take a risk on these little small manufacturing companies in these places, right? It would be a really good place to invest, right? Because you can make a lot of money, right? Because every September, right, the stock market goes down, and I was listening to this guy, right, and he was saying about those chips, right? It'd be a good place to invest. Watch what these big companies move, how they moving, right? Because you never know, right? Because a lot of companies are starting to do in-house in manufacturing, like Tesla. I just think it's Tesla right now, all right? And about I think it's Six Flags. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but Six Flags, right, in America.
Yeah.
So Six Flags basically they came out with a Batman ride, right? This guy I knew, he said, all one of his friends, right? Or not, I don't know him, but I listened to him, right? The guy, he said all of his friends go out. They went on the Batman ride. You know what he did with his money? Invested into Six Flags, right? Because he knew when the Batman ride came out, everybody's gonna want to get on, which will drive the stock prices up, right? So he invested, and I don't know how much he made, but he made some money from that, right? And all his friends got the little enjoyment out of the ride, right? Yeah. So that's how after he said that, that's how I started thinking like that, right? I started thinking that, right? Because I know when I go to movie theaters, right, I invest in the movie theaters because when a big movie comes out, it's going to drive the stock of the movie theater up, right?
Yeah.
So that's what I'm trying to do, right? Because I want to create a brokerage account, but I don't know. Is it a brokerage account? Isn't that what for?
Yeah, brokerage.
Yeah, brokerage, right? I want to create a brokerage account, right? But once I get some more money or get this job I'm getting, right? That's what I'm gonna do.
Yeah.
Okay. Africa, right? Okay.
Yeah.
I don't really know about this. Really, I'm gonna say if you really want more on this, go to EYL, which is short for Earn Your Leisure. Go to their podcast. You can talk about this. There's a podcast about Africa. So right, basically how the guy explained the internet, right? So in America, it's an ocean, right? The access to access to social media and stuff like that is an ocean, right?
Yeah.
It's endless, right? But he said
Yeah.
in Africa it's like a water bottle. And remind me, this guy is black from Africa, right? So it says like a water bottle, right? Because he said, know why? Because there's a limited access, right? Because they don't have Wi-Fi routers, they have data plans, right? And they know this data plan is gonna end, right? So they like, here we don't even think about it. We find a funny video, we can send it to our friends, right? Or we text our friends, right? Call our friends, right? And they said they know they can't do that because it will run out. I think he said it was like less than 1% of the population had access to unlimited internet usage, like Wi-Fi routers and stuff.
Yeah.
Right? And he said in Lagos is the capital of Night. I don't know if it's the capital, but I know Lagos is like the tech capital of Nigeria, right? And he said, I don't know. He said about investors, right? For investors. To invest in something, to keep an eye look out for Legos, right? And I don't want to speak any more about it except for that because I don't want to give out wrong information. All right, I got a question for you right now. I said a question. Say you're an investor. How many trades do you want to make in a year?
How many trades?
Yeah, like a stock, like buying stocks. How many trades do you want to make? Like you can say 100 or as many as possible, or what?
I depends how the stock is doing for that year, I guess. But I'd probably definitely go into like the S&P 500 or like different.
No, but like I mean, like how many trades though? Like 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60?
Oh, how many like shares I'd buy?
No, like trades. Like you like how many trades you gonna make, right? Like how many like stocks are you gonna buy, right? Like in the company stock, not like individual stocks, but like just a company in a whole. Like you're gonna buy stock from Tesla or stock from Microsoft, right? Those are
how many shares of Microsoft? Or?
Not shares, but like how many trades though? Like okay, let's say Tesla's one trade, and then you want to go to Microsoft, that's 2 trades, and then not Xbox, Apple, that's 3 trades, right? Like how many of those, like, how many trades would you want to make? Like, how many companies would you want to invest into?
It depends how much money I have and how well the stock is doing, I guess. But I'd probably definitely invest in, I want to say Tesla, because I feel like they're coming out with new technology. I feel like Apple is running out of ideas. Like, the difference from the iPhone 12 to the 13 or the new one or whatever is just like 1 more gigabyte of storage or something like that.
Alright.
So have you heard of like the light bulb company?
Sorry to cut you off real quick. I'm so sorry to cut you off, but like, okay, I need to get an answer to this question because there's something I want to explain. I'm so sorry to cut you off, right? So, but like trades, I mean, like, so hold on. So let's say you want to let's say Xbox is one company, right? And then you got Madden here, which would be a second company, right? So how many companies would you like to invest to? I'm so sorry to cut you off, but I need to get an answer to this question. Like 10, 20, 30?
I guess, yeah, like 10.
10, right?
Probably.
Alright, so you know how a lot of people, when they go into the stock market, right? They want to make 200 or 300 a day. The stock market doesn't work like that. You can't do that, right? Because
it's closed after hours.
Right, people want to make that much of 200 or 300 a day. You don't want to do that, right? You want to make. Most people when they go into the stock market, they say, "Oh, how many trades do you want to make?" Right? People say, "Oh, I want to make 200 or 300 in my first year." You don't want to do that. You want to take as little as possible, right? Because there's a learning curve to that, right? Because you got bear markets. Okay, I don't know all the markets because it slips my mind. All those markets, right? But the guy said you want to invest in as little trade as possible, but you want to make sure you get at least a $5,000 to $15,000 out each trade, right? But it shouldn't be like a quick thing. You want it to be a long-term thing, right? Because Warren Buffett, right? I think he has like a blueprint or something like how to invest, right? And nobody uses it. Like very few people use it because he has a quote that's saying nobody wants to use my formula because nobody wants to get rich quick, rich slow. Everybody wants to get rich quick, right? Because you want to get the money, you want to spend it, you want to do what you're doing, right? All right. Yep. So you want to take as little trades as possible, right? Which, in my opinion, is a good philosophy, right? All right. Sorry to cut you off. Go back to what you're saying. Light bulb company.
I So when we were talking about stocks, and we were asking like, what would I invest in if it was Apple, Microsoft, and Tesla?
Yeah.
I'd probably pick Tesla because they're like the future. They're making electric cars, and they can build off more ideas than Apple. I feel like Apple's running out of ideas.
Oh, she just up charger
because-
block, by the way. I know. I see. I just do that sometimes. Put things in my mouth.
So, because I feel like Apple's running out of ideas because the difference between the iPhone 12 to the 13 is like 1 gigabyte of storage. And then that would have led back to this light bulb company. So there's one light bulb company, right?
Yeah.
They made such good light bulbs that they lasted pretty much forever. And then everyone bought them. So like, well, not forever, but they lasted a really, really long time. So you wouldn't have to go back to the store and buy more because they lasted like a really long time.
Yeah.
So then everyone was like, oh, let's buy these light bulbs because they last a long time. So everyone switched from...
I know what you're talking about.
What?
I think I know. I can continue?
Yeah. So a bunch of people went to that light bulb company that was making tons of money because their product lasted longer than other light bulb companies. So everyone bought that light bulb, and then because their light bulb lasted so long, the consumers that bought the light bulb wouldn't buy it again. So that company went out of business because everyone bought the light bulb, right? It lasted forever. So no one needed to go buy that company's light bulb again because their product lasted forever.
One thing to say. One thing to say. Sorry to cut you off. But that's the same with printers, right? The printer may cost $50, $40, but where they're getting you is in the ink. Right?
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. So then the long-lasting light bulb went out of business because they didn't have returning customers. And then the light bulb that lasted like half that time stayed in business because they had returning customers going back. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I think
So
I wasn't it there in the 60s or something like that?
Yes, my God, I don't know.
Yeah, because I think I heard something about that. I don't know if it was light bulbs, but I heard something about that. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was light bulbs, but it was during the early 60s and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Hold on, I gotta check my notes.
That's fine.
Hold on. Business benefit. I got that. All right. Is it anything? I don't know. Okay. Data shortages. I don't know what that means. I'll probably think I'm retarded later because I totally forgot about that. I don't know. I don't know what data shortages means. No idea. Right. I don't know why I wrote that down. Okay. So any other topics? Because I don't know.
No, is there anything you would want to go over?
I'm just trying to think, man.
Like we were talking about saving. Like if I were to save for something, I'd save to invest it. Like I just wouldn't have money just sitting there. I would have a purpose for the money. Like if I was saving up, let's say I was saving up to buy a vending machine. All right, and the vending machine is $500. And I'm saving up for $500 so I could get that vending machine. But if I was saving up for something like a Gucci bag for $500, then I just lost $500 because the Gucci bag wouldn't make me any money. Because I'm investing the $500 into a vending machine, which would give me more money. Because people would buy the things in the vending machine.
You know, at the schools, right? How people make crazy money out the vending machine. That's nuts.
Oh yeah.
They must be making at least easily $1,000 a day.
They are making so much money from that vending machine.
I know. I've been there twice, a couple of times. I won't lie with you. I've been there. So I wrote down 2 more topics while you were saving money because when you saved that, it made what I was gonna say go off in my head, right? So I was listening to this guy, right, and he was talking about vending machines and stuff like that. He had 2, so not vending machines, but like those like you know the old Sears, right, where the Walmart and Micmac malls, I think. You know where the Sears was? Walmart. I think there's a...
Think what you mean, yeah.
Yeah, right? No, not inside the mall. The Sears wasn't inside the mall, not the Sears mall, but the Sears store, right? You know when you go into that Sears store, right? You get 25 cents. You could put the candy in, right? And you
The spinning things like
yeah.
the BMO.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and candy will come out and like a couple of candies, right? I was listening
Yeah.
to this guy. He said he did that with his teacher, right? So basically, right, how it worked was his teacher. So basically, he said to his teacher, "I'm gonna buy this machine, right? I'm gonna give you so much money from. I'm gonna buy this machine. I want you to put in your classroom.
Percentage profit.
Yeah, I'm gonna give you so much of what I make, right? And he put this in there. So he put it in there. I don't know. I think he made maybe 1,000, and he was refilling it. And I don't know. Maybe the teacher took 200 or 300, and the teacher ended up buying the machine off of him because this is like before COVID, right? And he ended up selling the machine. So he graduated, and the machine was still in the school. So he ended up selling it to the teacher, and the teacher ended up keeping it. Right?
Yeah.
So he said, "This is." Everybody watching this video, I want you to look into this. Ask one of your teachers in high school if you can do this right now, right? Because it's a good way to make money, and I made a decent amount of money because it's a passive income. All you got to do is refill it, right?
You just got to refill it, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's minimal labor.
Yeah, so, yeah. So he said that's a good thing to do, right? And one thing I want to do, right, because I already have a car fund, right? When I started in grade 7, I started working in the summer of grade 7, so I did that, and I've been working ever since, which my dad retired now, so I'm no longer working with my dad, right? So I can't say how much, but I have quite a bit of money in there saving for a car, right? So now I'm thinking I want to start saving for a house, right? And I don't know what to do, right? Because I want to start saving for my house so I can buy a house in my 20s, right? So I want to know if I should I want to get your opinion on this, right? I got two options. Should I straight up save money, or should I save money but not invest a little bit of that money into stuff that I know that is solid, like the S&P 500, right?
Yeah.
So what do you think? Should I straight up save, or should I invest into save but invest some of that money also?
Investing is great, but
Like,
if you just don't know if it's gonna make back its profit.
Yeah, because
you don't know if you're gonna get a good return. But I mean, I don't know. I'd probably just get the car, and then what you could do with that car is crazy, because you could go on Marketplace, right? You'd see something for free and resell it. So you'd drive to the place with your car, pick it up, and sell it.
I had that almost exact same idea. My idea was a little different, right? My dad has a Ford Ranger, right? For around the pit when he was working, right? I would use that to take tires down and put them in the pit. I was scared. I was so scared to do that. I hate doing that job because it scared being down there by myself, right? So, right, I was thinking I could buy that truck from him, and what I could do, right, on Fishwood Marketplace, I could transport stuff for money, right? Because I know one time my mom, when she bought her new couch, she couldn't put the couch in her Honda, in her little Nissan, right? It's a full size car, but she couldn't put a big couch in there, right? And I think it was a love seat or whatever.
The couch thing is crazy. You make so much money,
right?
It's just finding a buyer, and storage. You need storage.
This is from Nothing Fancy, right? Okay, so it's from Nothing Fancy. My mom couldn't transport. She just put a post out somewhere, paying someone to help move my couch. The guy came, he moved the couch, right? I don't know how much he made me. It was $50, $60, $70. He just did that, and he made a little money moving the couch, right? And that's what I want to do, right? Because if I can do that all day, but I gotta be wary of gas and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Right? So you gotta track your gas mileage, because that's with Uber and stuff, right? Uber Eats and all those other places. It's what they fail to realize is that it's what's your gas to earning, it's your earnings to how much money you're spending on gas, right? Because Apple, right? Apple knows exactly they pay this. I don't know. They pay people accountants millions of dollars. They know a penny. They know every penny that goes out and any penny that goes in, right? Every day. There's no dollar that can pass them, right? And that's a big example, right? I was listening to a guy. He said a lot of people don't think about that, because he said when people start their businesses, they don't have no idea what's coming in, no idea what's going out. Well, some idea what's coming in, but not really what's going out. And that's how a lot of businesses fail, right? Because they couldn't have a bunch. They could have. You could make 10,000 and 5,000 could be going out, or 7,000 you only get 3,000, right? You got to pay
Yeah.
pay workers, pay taxes, light bills, and all this other stuff when you get a business, right? So we said, if you start a business, what I want you to do now, get you a piece of paper or hire somebody, do what you do whatever, but keep track of how much money is coming in and how much is going out, right?
100%. And that goes back to your point with Uber. If you're making, like Uber Eats, if you're driving a big truck that is very heavy on gas, and you're only getting paid minimal, I don't know, like $15 for a delivery, I guess.
Yeah.
And you have to pay $12, $13 for gas, you're only making $2 a delivery. But if you don't realize that, if you look at delivering food and getting $15, and you're like, oh, let's go, I got $15. Oh, and then you have to pay like $12 for gas.
Yeah.
You just wiped your profit pretty much.
Yeah. So, yeah, I got a cousin, right? And I think, whoa, wait, did I just lag? Okay, never mind.
No.
All right, so I got a cousin, right? He's making, I don't know, he's making $2,000 2 weeks for delivering packages for this company, right? And I was talking to somebody, so, oh, he's making a crazy amount of money. And I thought to myself, and the first, right? Oh, yeah, he's making a crazy amount of money, $2,000. But then I thought to myself later on, if he's making $2,000, how much time is he putting in? How much money? Because everybody always forgets about how much time they're putting in. Time is everything, right? Because you know when people go to work, you're exchanging time for money, right? Yeah, exchanging your time for money. You're building someone else's wealth. When you're working for somebody, you're building someone else's wealth. You might make that company $1 million, but you might only make maybe $50,000, $70,000, right, in a year, right?
Yeah.
So he was saying you got to be conscious of that, though. When you're working for somebody else, you got to be careful, because if you're working with somebody else and you're doing that job really well, you could be making them millions of dollars, right? Maybe not one person, but a group of people, right? But you could do the same thing with your family or family members or friends or random people and do the exact same thing and make yourself rich, right? And so you got to always be conscious of that, right? Because everybody goes to work, exchanges their time for money, right? And they're probably making these companies 10 times what they're making, right?
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Right? So he said always be conscious of that. Right, you never want to give up your time for money, right? Give up your time for, like, you want to give your time for a good amount of money, right? Because he said that's the thing about going everyday jobs, right? Because that's the thing about this. People don't understand. You may be making big bucks, but when you're losing time, right? And you only got so much time on this earth, right?
Yeah.
So you're exchanging. I think I said like 100,000. I don't know. Maybe I don't know if this is correct, but like 100. What is that? Oh, I don't know why that's there. Can you see that on my thing? A big thumbs up. Oh, never mind. It's gone. Right. So he said. Oh, I lost my whole point. I lost what I was saying, but just to simplify it, don't be wary how you exchange your money, how you exchange your time for money, right? Because what you could be. You could be making $50 an hour, but making, I don't even know how much I would end up to a year, but let's just say 100,000. And math is probably not correct, but say 100,000, right? 100,000 a year, but so you make 100,000 a year, but you could be putting your time to your own business, building yourself wealth, right? Because think about building because I remember I was telling you this. I told you this. You know I'm talking about when Shaq was talking to somebody, and the guy said to Shaq, "You're rich. No, you're rich. You're rich, but I'm wealthy." And he said, "What's the difference?" And Shaq said, "What's the difference?" He said, "I got generational wealth. Generational wealth is like land, and also, but not a lot of people know about is generational information, right?" And that's what I have, right, from my grandfather to pass it on to my dad to pass it on to me. Generational information.
Assets that you can pass on to the family.
Yeah, right? So you get, basically, right? And then Shaq said, oh, right? So that's what I want to do, right? I want to I don't want to put all my time that I have in this world to that business, but I want to put some of my time that I have in this world to that business, right? Because I want to have a business that will be a passive income, making money, right? Because a lot of people, right? Whenever I tell people I want to retire at 30, and a lot of people say, "What are you gonna do with the rest of your life?" Right? And every single time, I know them people who've never thought past retiring, right? Because what are you gonna do with the rest of your life, right? I know a lot of people, like, outlive their money sometimes, right? And then if you don't know what that means, people listen to the podcast. I'm forgetting that I'm recording this, right? So people on the podcast, right? Outliving your money means you may. So let's say you okay. Can your pension run out? I don't know about that, but so let's say you get $100,000 and that will last you, let's say 5 years. That's probably not accurate. Let's say you got $1 million and you live so you're 40 and you live to be, let's say, 50 years, right? You're 90. You might outlive your money at that time, right? And have no money left, right? And our parents' generation, right? They're going to be called the silver, right? Because our parents' generation is so in debt that we're going to be paying their debt, and our kids are going to be paying their debt, and their kids are going to be paying their debt off still, right? Because that generation is highly in debt. If you listen to the thing on Netflix, it goes to in depth about how our parents' generation is in a lot of debt and caused a lot of trouble, like climate wise for our generation, right? And we have to deal with those issues, right? So, but a lot of people, what they don't understand is problem solvers will be the one thing my stepmother always says is problem solvers. I don't know. Yeah, she said that to me. Problem solvers will be the future, right? People that can solve problems, right, will be the future, right? And that's what I always try to do, problem solve, because that's what my dad is always saying, right? My dad, we were on the 4-wheeler, right? And we were trying to go from one place to the exact same place you came from, right? But coming from a different way. So my dad said he knows his path because he grew up there, up home. He grew up there, so I expected him to know, right? But the past changed, things changed, so it looked different. So he didn't really know where he was going, right? Because it looked different, right? So we're driving on a smooth little path, right? We go down, it's getting darker, right? So we get to this little rocky path, right? The rocks are crazy. The 4-wheeler's up like this, not you guys on the podcast, but let's say like a 90-degree angle, and the rocks are just high. So my dad gets off the bike. He says, "Wait here, Cameron," right? And we turn around. So he says, "Wait here, Cameron." He goes down and see how a little bit further I can still see him. And then the 4-wheeler, something happens, so I start crying. And this is probably grade 7. I'm crying, right? Right. And my dad, he doesn't start crying whenever stuff like this happens. My dad, he figures how to solve the issue, right? Because if you're there crying, how are you gonna solve what's going on, right? Exactly. And when you gotta be calm, collected, and cool and solve the problem, right? My dad's a problem solver. That's what he does, right? No, not what he does.
And that's how you would make great products. If you could pin out the problem and then solve it with a product or a service, you're golden.
Yeah, right. So, in the summertime, me and my dad was swimming. He dropped his key into the water, right? So he tried to start the car. After we finished swimming, he couldn't start the car. So my dad, he called the guy he bought the car from. He called the dealership. The car, so the key costed a ridiculous amount of money, right? So my dad was like, my dad's like, "I'm not paying that. I'm gonna find out the way to get a cheaper key," because he said to me after he hung up with the Mercedes dealership, he said to me, "These companies always want you to pay these big bucks, but there always is a way to not pay big bucks." He said to me, right? One time he was saying to me, right, I may have a Mercedes, but I never paid the full price for it because he has an older Mercedes. I don't know what year. It's below 2010, but it's a good working car. Mercedes are good working cars, right? So he said to me, I may have a Mercedes, but I didn't pay big bucks for it. And he might have bought in 2016. I don't know. But it's below 2010. That's all I know, right? He said this car might have cost $100,000 when it first came out, but I never paid $100,000. I'm not gonna say how much he paid, but he didn't pay $20,000. He didn't pay $15,000. Yeah. He paid way less than that. So right, he paid way less. Well, not way less, but like less than that, right? So he says there's always a way to get luxury items for cheaper, right? Because there was a $2,000 suit. He liked the suit. He got the suit for cheaper. He didn't even pay $1,000 for the $2,000 suit. I don't know if he got it at Value Village because my dad always go to thrift stores and stuff like that. My grandfather did that, and he has a lot of gold, real stuff like that, and gold. Because my dad, he can tell if something's gold just by looking at it and feeling it, right? He's really good at that stuff, right? Because my dad isn't just business smart or history smart; he's all around smart, right?
Yeah.
He knows a lot about everything, right? Which I find fascinating. Because we were on vacation 2 weeks before school was about to start, right? So we're on vacation, right? And we go to this gold shop, right? Some gold chains, right? There was this big thick chain. It was huge, right? My dad goes, "Can I feel that chain?" And he goes, "Oh, it's hollow," right? But it was real gold, solid gold, but it was hollow, right?
Yeah.
And the one thing I learned, so he knew. So that's just like what he knew, because it was hollow. You could feel it and all this other stuff, right? And the one thing I learned a couple of days ago, I learned it on the accident, right? I learned about people may have big, you know, these rappers, right? They got the big, thick Cuban chains, with the diamonds on them, right? Maybe the ones without the diamonds, right? That may be real gold, but it's gold filled, right? It's got something else on the inside, right? Because I was watching a guy, right? He said, "I just bought this chain. I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna show you if this chain is fake or real, right?" So he was filing into it, and the chain ended up being fake, right? No, not being fake, but it ended up being gold filled, which I think means there's gold on the outside, but the inside is something else, right? A cheaper metal, right?
Yeah.
So that's a lot of things I like learning about the world, right?
Yeah.
That's the one thing, because if you can learn about the world and learn your way through this world, you're good, right?
Yeah.
Because I know that's the one thing I do. I try to learn about everything, right? Not just business, right? Because business can. Yeah. One thing my dad always said to me.
Connected to a lot of things.
Yeah, my dad always said to me that I think maybe his grandmother said to him, but he always said, manners will take you where money and business can't, right? Because there was one time, I don't know, there was a guy we were somewhere, and my dad needed something, and he wanted something in a store, right? And my dad was real nice to him, and the guy said, "Oh, unfortunately, we don't have any." And my dad was nice, and the guy said, "Oh, but in the back we got one, right? We got one of whatever it was. I don't remember, right?" So he got it just because, and he said to me when we got in the car, "You see, manners will take you where money can't," right? So he always said, "You gotta remember that," and that's one thing I'm trying to do now. I'm trying to capture my manners, right? Because you see, with Mr. Pickett, right? I always pay attention to what the teachers say, right?
Yeah.
Mr. You know, that's a good topic I gotta bring. Hold on. Let me type this out real quick. I'm gonna still explain to him. Remember, Mr. Pickett says he sees somebody come in, he says, "How was your day?" And I think I said it a couple times, but he didn't hear me. But I did say it. But he to him a couple times. But he says, "I always say to everybody, 'How's your day?' But nobody ever asked me." And then he says, "My day was fine," right? Okay. Yeah. And then that was a quick talk. I thought it was gonna take longer than I thought. So remember on Friday when we saw those 4 people, right? Or Thursday, maybe it was last week. Okay, we saw those 4 people, right? One was a painter and painted his own thing and missed out on $3,000, and it cost him $1,000 to hire someone else, and he could have kept $2,000 for himself, right? Mm-hmm. Now that I think about it, income taxes and all this other stuff, right? So he wouldn't have come out with $2,000. He probably came out maybe $1,500, $1,600, something like that, right? Yeah. And there was the other guy, the firework guy, that didn't like banks, so he put his money in the fireworks and sold the fireworks for $1,030, right? Then there was a baker that started his own business, right? Remember, he was a good baker, right? And he started his own business, right? And what was the 4th guy? Oh, the guy that went to college. The guy went to college for 5 years, right? And ended up having to go back again. He was a 30.
Yeah, opportunity cost, yeah.
Yeah, opportunity cost, right? And I think the video explained that they all lost, didn't it? They said in the video's opinion, they all lost, right? But in my way, that was a different type of mindset than I had. I thought the guy with the bakery succeeded because he was building wealth for himself. Because when Mr. Pickett said, why would he leave that job and make his own business, right? Making his own business, he said it was a good idea, but he said you're risking a paycheck, right? But think about it
it's
is,
not
right?
security. You have less security. You don't know if you're gonna get paid. Because if you get a job, you know you're gonna get paid $36,000 at the end of the year. But if you have your own business, then you don't know you'll get paid either 20, 30,000 a year or 60,000 a year. And like he said, there's no roof,
Right.
or there's no ceiling, and you can just go as high as you want to go. But it can also be low.
Right. So that's why when you're young, should create yourself a business, right? Because when you get older, you got a family to support, so it'll be harder, right? Because you got kids to feed, you got a whole family, you got a wife and kids, you got to feed, right? So it's gonna cost you more, right? So my thing is start a business now, right? Because that's why I started this podcast. I want to turn my podcast into a brand.
Yeah.
If I get a big opportunity, right? Because I was listening to a guy about podcast. He said when you're making a podcast, you may not get 1,000 viewers your first time, or 2 views. You might get 0. But he said the reason why most podcasts fail is because none of them keep going, because they can never see the light in the darkness, right?
Yeah.
If that makes sense to you, the light at the end of the tunnel, right? Because the tunnel's going to be curvy, so you won't be able to see the light at the end of the tunnel. But he said most podcasts stop because they're not getting any viewers or it's doing bad, right? He said you need the consistency, release you need a particular day, 2 days that you might release, because everybody knows life happens, right? So if you can't release Sunday, release Monday, right? So Saturday, Monday, and Sunday will be my release dates, right? So that's what I'm trying to do, right? I have different people on the podcast all the time, right? So that's his saying. So he said, even though you may not get 2, 3 viewers, or you might not, or 1 viewer your first time, keep going, because you're gonna. You may not succeed at first, but eventually you will, because another guy said, hard work will outdo talent any day when talent fails to work hard, right? Because I know that was a lot of people, right? Because I know somebody, I know 2 people. One guy, he works hard all the time. All he does is play basketball every day. You see him outside with his friends playing basketball with a basketball pole. One guy, he's not like that. He's talented because he's pretty big. But he might practice 1 or 2 days a week, or whenever he has basketball practice, right? But this guy, the guy practicing every single day, and the other guy's talent, that guy's gonna go past him, right? I'm not trying to mention any names, right? Because you know how this goes out. Did I leg out?
No.
Man, that's weird. It keeps going to wait, hold on. Oh wait, what? I thought when you put your fingers over the camera, right, it would black it out, because it does that for you, right? I don't know. Because every single time I see your arm move, it does this weird thing, right? So he said hard work, hard work beats talent. Will beat talent any day, right? When talent fails to work hard, right? So that's the thing, right? Oh, freak. My arms. You gotta always try to work hard, right? That's the goal, right? Because he said because a lot of people, right, they have the mindset the world is not fair, right? Because I have this video on my phone. I wish I could play it, but my phone's recording, unfortunately, because me and Parker were here for like 20 minutes trying to figure out how to get this podcast recorded, right? Unfortunately, there's no visuals, right? So, I don't know, right? He said a poor person will try to make $1 million, will fail because it's too hard. He said a smart person, a poor person will do something they hate because they feel like they have to do it, right? And it's their job. That's their place in the world, right? A smart person will do something they love. No, do something. Well, it's a smart person will do something they hate. A smart person will do something they hate but do it well, right? Just do something they hate but do it well. They do it like they love it, like Mike Tyson says, right? But a genius will do what they love, right? And and he said that's where genius begins to flower. And I believe this guy, he's an Arab or a Muslim. I don't know. He's from a Middle Eastern country, right? And you probably seen the video on TikTok.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, right. I get a lot of those videos on TikTok. I won't lie with you, man. I get all those, I get the Grant Cardone, the Jeff Bezos quotes. I get all those quotes on my TikTok feed, right, all the time. But I have 2 accounts, right, because I like to keep, I personally did it on purpose to customize my feed like that on one of my accounts, and the other account just to have a different feed, right, which is just funs and like dances and laughs and stuff like that on TikTok, right?
Yeah, I'll say some quick and then I gotta go.
All right.
But TikTok is great for learning. That's where I learned the majority of what I know.
Yeah.
I have an entire TikTok account dedicated to finance, business, self-growth, mindset. So I have, what I do is all like my liked videos, so I'd like it, and then all my like videos is just finance and stuff. So then when I need to learn, because I'd probably forget the majority of it, but when I see something that's good and useful, I'd like it, and then I'd go through all the like videos, and I don't know, it's really great because it's like 30 seconds, 30 to a minute, or maybe more, but it's really helpful, and it's a great learning tool.
All right, sounds good. All right, y'all heard that. Y'all should go. I recommend doing it. I don't do that exact same thing, but I do have 2 TikTok accounts. Me and Parker do both have the same thing for the exact same purposes. So today's podcast is a great talk. Thank you, Parker, for being a good guest. Hopefully, you can have you on again sometime.
Yeah, definitely.
This is Cameron's Universal Information. This is time. Hopefully, this episode will be uploaded later. Thank you, Parker. Have a good day.